The Dominion War archives would one day record the Battle of Nar'Kal Ridge as a turning point in the galaxy's understanding of humanity, but in the moment it unfolded, no such grand predictions existed. Only shock, terror, and the growing, sick realization that the galaxy had gravely underestimated the creatures from Sol. The Zirathi High Command had mobilized nearly half of its frontier army to crush the human incursion on the mineral world of Terethus 6. The Zirathi expected the invasion to be swift. Terethus 6 was one of their most fortified colonies, protected by armored battalions, aerial gunships, and 2 orbital support carriers. The Zirathi had faced humans twice before, and both times, they had dismissed their adaptability and stubbornness as mere curiosities rather than existential warnings. This time, they planned to send a message. Commander Vorak, a 14-cycle veteran, stood on the balcony of the Forward Command Citadel, watching the dust storm swirl. His purple carapace shimmered faintly beneath his armor, twitching in agitation as reports scrolled across his visor. "Commander," rasped Subcommander Chiron, hurrying toward him. "Our scout units report contact with the humans. They have identified a small task force approaching Nar'Kal Ridge." "How small?" Vorak asked. 8 biosigns." Vorak froze. 8. The Zirathi had deployed more than 12,000 soldiers to this continent alone. "And how many ships are detected overhead?" Vorak prompted. "None, Commander. No dropships, no gunships, no armored carriers. The humans appear to have walked across the basin." Vorak turned slowly, disbelief tightening his mandibles. "No species walks 20 kilometers across exposed kill zones. Not unless they wish to die." Chiron swallowed. "They are humans, Commander." The explanation hung between them. Uncomfortable. Tense. Entirely insufficient. The human recon squad. Miles away, scaling the jagged cliffs of Nar'Kal Ridge, Captain Leora Reyes paused atop an outcropping, wind tugging at her sand-scored gray cloak. The sun beat down harshly, but she barely felt it. Her exosuit moderated her temperature, filtered dust, monitored humidity, and tracked her vital signs with clinical precision. Behind her, the rest of Inferno Squad, 6 soldiers and a combat engineer, moved with practiced silence. "Recon drone launched," Sergeant Tallis murmured, releasing a palm-sized sphere into the air. It drifted on whisper-quiet anti-grav. Dominion forces concentrated at the ridge. Heavy armor columns. Infantry phalanxes. "Looks like they brought the whole family." "Good," Reyes said, tightening the strap of her rifle. "Makes our job easier to find them." Corporal Jean snorted. "You know, most people try to avoid the entire alien army." Reyes gave him a thin grin. "Where's the fun in that?" The mission, however insane it sounded, was simple. Locate enemy command infrastructure, sabotage critical structures, and collect intelligence for the incoming main Terran fleet. This was precisely what human recon teams were infamous for: penetrate impossible locations, disrupt everything they touched, and vanish before enemy forces realized what had happened. "What's the plan, Cap?" Engineer Vale asked, adjusting the charge pack at his hip. "We get close," Reyes said, "and then we show them why frontier commanders wake up at night muttering about humans." First contact at the ridge. The Zirathi defenses at Nar'Kal Ridge were brutalist monuments of metal and stone. Walls bristled with turrets. Plasma artillery positions glowed with ready charges. Thousands of Zirathi infantry stood in disciplined rows. Commander Vorak watched the feed from an overhead drone, mandibles clicking nervously. "Magnify Sector 3, he ordered. The image sharpened. 8 humans crept up the ridge, small figures compared to Zirathi, clad in matte armor, carrying gear that shimmered faintly with adaptive cloaking. Why aren't they using vehicles? Chiron whispered. Vorik exhaled sharply. Humans prefer to move like predators. Quiet. Patient. Always testing. On the screen, the humans seemed to pause. One knelt, placing something on the ground. Is that? Chiron began. The mountainside erupted. A shockwave rippled through the valley as a precisely shaped demolition charge collapsed an entire fortified cliff section. 50 Zirathi soldiers were buried instantly. What in the void was that? Chiron shouted, claws curling. Shaped seismic charges, Vorik muttered. But that yield, how did they carry something like that on foot? Before he finished the question, one of the human suits fired a thin, barely visible blue beam. A Zirathi turret melted in seconds. Vorik leaned closer. Energy weapons? Portable? No species carries reactor-grade output in a handheld unit. Chiron trembled. Commander, should we withdraw? Withdraw. Vorik hissed. From 8 humans? But inside, dread was coiling. Inferno squad advances. Captain Reyes sprinted across the rubble, leaping a fallen support beam. Plasma fire streaked past her, scorching the stones. Turrets 2 and 3 down, Talus reported. Enemy armor regrouping. Jean, take the north flank, Reyes ordered. Pin them. Veil, with me. A Zirathi walker, a towering 6-legged gun platform, emerged from behind a barricade. Its glowing cannons swiveled toward Reyes. Walker locking on, Veil warned. Not for long. Reyes slid beneath a shattered column, pulling a cylinder from her belt. She clicked the safety, hurled it, and ducked. The detonation was silent, more a pulse than an explosion. The walker froze, then collapsed like a marionette with cut strings. EMP charge successful, Veil grinned. Keep moving, Reyes said. Clocks ticking. Their target was the command citadel at the ridge's summit. If they could breach it, the intel alone could shift the balance of the entire war. Panic in the citadel. Inside the heart of Zirathi command, Vorik's composure cracked. The humans had destroyed 2 artillery batteries, disabled a walker, breached the outer wall, and blitzed an entire infantry platoon, all within 6 minutes. No squad in the galaxy can inflict this level of damage, Chiron whispered, voice trembling. They are not a squad, Vorik replied hollowly. They are humans. On the tactical screen, one of the humans performed a sliding maneuver between 2 warriors. A blinding arc of plasma sliced across both Zirathi necks. The human rose smoothly, continuing the advance without breaking stride. Vorik's claws dug into the console. Why aren't they retreating? Why don't they fear death? Chiron swallowed. Reports from the first human war indicated they were nearly impossible to break psychologically. They don't retreat unless ordered. They keep fighting even when wounded, sometimes even when dying. Vorik shuddered. Are they some kind of engineered soldier? No, Commander. According to human biology files, they are baseline. Baseline. The word hit Vorik like a thunderbolt. This was what they could do without biological enhancement. The Citadel breach. The interior corridors of the Ridge Citadel were dim, lit by pulsing hazard lights and scattered sparks from disabled conduits. Reyes raised a hand. Hold position, she whispered. Footsteps echoed from around the bend, heavy, metallic. Droplet armor unit coming in, Talus murmured, scanning. Tactical recommendation? Ambush, Reyes said simply. The Zirathi armored trooper marched into view, its towering exosuit plating glinting like obsidian. It carried a plasma scythe longer than a human body. Reyes waited until it drew close.